Welcome to One Up Fantasy, helping you one up the fantasy football competition. For the latest in Chicago sports news, visit ChiCitySports.com. And now, here are the hosts of One Up Fantasy, Stephen Johnson and Chris Jackle. Kaboom!
We couldn't put on a show until week 15 was over. Welcome into a late night edition of One Up Fantasy here on Tri-City Sports and the Tape Never Lies Network. I'm Stephen Johnson. He is Chris Jackle. We kept you up. I know it's a little late out there on the East Coast. Do you have any time off this week, or are you running the gamut at work?
No, I'm trying to cram it, as Shane would love me to hear me say, I'm trying to cram it all in a week's work in a few days. So, I got time off. Wife's back to work from maternity leave. So here I am, got some time off while the kids are on school vacation. So it's daddy daycare. What about you? I know you got something, new gig or what have you, but you got any time off?
Just Friday. So I got
okay.
Friday for Christmas Eve and the next Friday for New Year's Eve. So a couple days to enjoy with the family and some other events going on. But back at it bright and early tomorrow morning. Back on the road, back on the fun train downtown Chicago. Gotta love it. Last stop, a nice hour and a half train ride home. One way. So nice thing about it, I can sleep.
It gives you plenty of time to set your lineups for your playoff matchups,
That is true. Speaking of, what the hell happened to you?
My team.
Do we even want to bring it up?
So I think I set a record for the lowest fantasy points scored. I think I don't even think I had 60 points. Mr. Cox just literally took me behind the shed, and it just ended my misery. It was awful. I couldn't even look again.
8.3 points.
Yeah. Good times.
Man.
Yeah.
Man, dude. That's
when
rough.
they don't show up when they all don't show up, it's not a good day. I mean, Kyler Murray and I lost Hopkins and I was dealing with some stuff, but
still to have a lineup of Kyler Murray, Joe Mixon, Alvin Kamara, Cole Beasley, T. Higgins, Mike Gesicki, Van Jefferson, Cordero Patterson, and then the Tennessee defense and Ryan Suckup scored you only 58. Like, you'd at least expect like a 75-pointer out of that squad because there's still some good players there. But to that extent, I think that kind of sums up this week in a nutshell. In just the number
took the words right out of my fucking mouth.
just the number of teams that might have run the gamut this season and been these 10, 11 win groups, and all of a sudden things just fell apart, completely fell apart. I mean, I don't even know where to necessarily start. I mean, you can run up and down the list of just disappointment that happened this week and makes you wonder, okay, why of all times is this happening now? Why couldn't this happen in the regular season? You have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who have been a fantasy machine all year. Tom Brady with his worst performance of the year, his first shutout in 15 years. Mike Evans out, Chris Godwin out for the year, potentially Leonard Fournette out for the year, depending on if he hits the IR, which was the news today. So all of a sudden,
did they say he's going on the IR? This evening I saw he may miss 2 games.
It said he was a candidate. So
they just signed Le'Veon Bell. They signed Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, I think that's a telltale sign that things aren't all sunshine and roses in Tampa Bay to close out the season.
And point.
Then on the flip side of that game, same game, Alvin Kamara, 11 carries. 18 yards, only 2 catches for 13 yards. I mean, Taysom Hill was playing and he took plenty of opportunities from the run game, but again,
We've talked
Nothing.
about that though, but we've had those kind of, you and I have sat here on this damn airwaves talking about Taysom Hill and the Kamara impact and how he performs when he's in the lineup with him. It was just, it was a microcosm of the season. I think week 15, just the shitstorm all over the Lions won another game. I mean, it was just, the Lions are the hottest team in the NFL right now. I mean, what the fuck is going on here? They've won 2.5 games this year, and all of a sudden Dan Campbell is going to win Coach of the Year over there. Golf's like, we're going to win out. And then Omicron is like, sorry, dude, you're fucking on COVID list. So, that COVID situation is a nightmare. I mean, 213 players are on the fucking list, I think, as of like 9 o'clock when I was typing up some shit when we, waiting for you to get home from wherever you are. And, probably looking at Christmas lights.
All of my shenanigans. Yeah.
But hey, every day it's another team that's just getting smacked in the mouth, and it's like the Chiefs right now, fantasy wise, you're hurting. Kelsey, you got Hill. And then it's who else at this point, if it hits the running back room, I mean, I'm screwed in my dynasty league, which, by the way, I just want to add, I lost 3 in a row, dropped out of the playoff picture. Last week was the last week of the regular season's this week, and it's a 2-week playoff. And I won. The guy that beat was ahead of me. He lost, so I snuck in 4th place, which is my big money league. Last week, I actually talked about it last week. I thought I was out of the league. And then my buddy's like, dude, we have another league in the regular season. What are you talking about? I'm like, why the fuck do we go to the week 18? He's like, no, dumbass. It's only like, oh. And I took over for a team last year. So I just, whatever, fuck it. But nonetheless,
didn't put 2 and 2 together.
I'm in the money, but I'm fighting a team that's like 14-1 or whatever it is. And I'm like, okay. So,
that sounds like a Cooper Kupp team to me.
They got Jonathan Taylor also.
Oh, that'll do it. That's a strong one there. Yeah, I mean, just looking at the last couple days, this isn't even putting into contention here that we were lucky and managed to get 5 days of football in week 15. Just from an entertainment standpoint, we got 5 days of football: Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I mean, tonight's games weren't all that inspiring outside
Matthew Stafford. Thank you, buddy.
Man, Matt Stafford, and then Cooper Kupp doing Cooper Kupp things yet again, saving a lot of teams with another multi-touchdown performance.
Yeah.
He is on a record-setting pace.
Yeah, he set the record, didn't he?
14 games. Yep, through 14 games, he has more points than any other NFL receiver in history. I mean, that's talking a lot of historic
370.1 in the PPR leagues, averaging 23.7. That is fucking amazing. Amazing,
I mean, I'm just looking at this here now. So through 14 games, 151 targets. I mean, that's 20 more than the
11 targets
closest receiver. I mean, it's very possible. It is very possible that we could see Cooper Kupp flirt with 2,000 yards this season.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp, of all the receivers out there, he is 511 yards.
With 4 games left, right? Or no, 3 games left?
3 games to go.
Yeah.
It's
as long as they stay healthy and Omicron doesn't destroy them, and and they don't miss any key parts. I mean, they're hurt now, but I think they're going to have most of their guys back for next week. Are they early? I don't have the schedule in front of me. Do they have one of the early games, or are they Sunday?
Yeah. So the Rams play the Vikings at noon on Sunday.
Okay.
So the 2 Saturday games, the 2 Christmas games, are the Browns and Packers, and then the Colts and Cardinals. So those are the 2 games we get while we're opening gifts and stuffing our faces with the holiday ham.
our holidays just changed. It's just the Jackal family low key because of what's going on over here. We got positive tests everywhere, so it's like, all right, baby and family, we're all staying in, and which is cool because Santa's bringing some good stuff for the kids. So I think Dad'll have fun. So I'm not complaining. But no, those games aren't bad. Carson Wentz is a stinker, though. He's just been god awful the last 5 games, and we can talk about that at some point. But if Cooper Kupp could pull that off, 2,000 yards in this season with everything that has happened, I mean, that could go down as arguably one of the greatest wide receiver. I mean, one of the greatest offensive seasons ever.
Yeah, I'm trying to see here. So 511 divided by 3, that's 170 yards.
Yeah, if you got 100,
it's a high number. Don't
you say 170?
170 a game.
Okay.
We'll get him there.
Duh.
So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for him, but the fact he's even flirting with this, I don't know if he's ever eclipsed 170 this year. No, he hasn't. The highest total would have been week number 2 against the Colts, 163 yards on 9 catches and 2 touchdowns. But in addition, this was Cooper Kupp's 5th multi-touchdown game tonight.
Wow.
His 5th.
What does he have total touchdowns this year?
12.
Steven? Okay.
Yes, 12. I mean, that in itself, you just look at these numbers and like, this is like Madden when you got that one guy you lock onto and he's always in the MVP conversation. This is what Cooper Kupp is doing to opposing NFL teams. It makes absolutely no sense that you got this guy that, yeah, he's been this great possession type receiver for a very long time. Actually, I could be wrong here. He might actually be over 1,500. I think he's at. Okay, so that did not include. I apologize. That did not include tonight. So he's at 1,625.
Oh, wow.
So that makes things a hell of a lot easier.
You're absolutely right.
So let's see here. That puts him at 375 yards.
Yeah.
So 125 is what he needs to average.
Yeah, and they got Minnesota. They got Minnesota, who stinks. Minnesota's not good at, they got Baltimore, and they got the Niners, who's another, I think it helps him out on the, with a shot here. I mean, that's a legit chance. That'd be awesome, man.
And it's
go
not
down
only
one of the greatest seasons ever.
And to go along with that, it's still not out of the question that the Rams could get that number 1 overall seed in the NFC. They're a game back from the Packers. The Cardinals are coming up there, and they're faltering, as we saw.
They're struggling,
sucking it up against the Lions.
Injury bug.
They're tied at 10-4. So I mean, it's all bunched up there. These playoff pictures have been great.
But it's gonna make for great. Yeah, it's gonna make for great. It's great television, great fan watching. But there's gonna be some heartbreakers, man. I have a feeling. It's gonna be good. Like the Eagles, they're 7-7 now. Just watching them close it out today against the Washington football team. Nick Sirianni and the boys over there. I mean, they got a legit chance now. They play the Lions or the Giants again. I mean, there's a chance. I thought the Eagles were dead, and Jalen Hurts, fantasy wise, is just still showing his value. And next year, he could arguably, depending on how they if they bring anybody else in on the offense on the outside for him to throw to, they lost Rieger obviously, so they have to replace that that spot. He's definitely a top 5 quarterback, fantasy quarterback. I mean, points wise right now he's in the top 5, I think, right? Isn't that what we talked about last week? I'm going to bring it up just to double check.
I believe you are correct. That sounds accurate.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was dealing with some ankle issues. Seems to be doing a hell of a lot better. Was showing off the wheels tonight. Finally putting Miles Sanders to use as well. He's finally, it only took 15 weeks. Only took over almost 4 months. But hey, we're here. So there's that as well. But yeah, it's again, you get an interesting lay of the land from what we had kind of come to expect. Some things managing to hold on, other things changing up a little bit, like mentioned Miles Sanders. Even the Rams running game situation is Sony Michel still getting a pretty nice bulk of the carries this evening over Darrell Henderson. So that kind of turning into very weird plateau that doesn't seem like it's settled all too much. Henderson coming back after missing a couple games here.
Yeah.
And so you got that to deal with. And then, we were talking about the COVID picture. You mentioned the Kansas City Chiefs. Tyreek Hill going on the COVID list today. Travis Kelce went on the COVID list yesterday. I believe he is vaccinated, though, so he does have the possibility to come back in time for their Week 16 game. I mean, could you imagine, like, Travis Kelce gets you this far, he's coming off his best game of the year. It's like, peace, can't play Week 16.
Yeah, I mean, but to just follow that up, I mean, the way they're doing the testing now, it's random, so it's like, are they just not going to test like quarterbacks in the playoffs? So to avoid, because God forbid they go test in Phoenix and Kyler Murray feels totally fine. No symptom. He's asymptomatic, but he tests positive. Well, guess what? He's out, and it's like, that's what's happening all over the league now. And most of the players, I think they said 90% of the players are asymptomatic. And don't quote me on that number. And I don't have it in front of me, but I know the number is extremely high. And so, no, there's no lab coat here, dude. I'm not. And, so they call me Dr. Jackle, but not that kind of doctor. So, it's just it's scary to think that it's running that rampant. The virus is, apparently it's not impacting the players as much in terms of their physical health. But then again, we don't know long-term impacts and whatever, and that gets into a whole nother conversation. So let's not get kicked off YouTube. So, I'm just worried that, the more you can't be comfortable with your lineup. Like, even if you don't have injuries, you could wake up tomorrow and you're missing 3 starters because they tested positive and now have to get into the protocol. And you're right. If they are vaccinated and they get, I think it's 2 tests within a 48-hour span, negative tests within a 48-hour span, they're able to come back. So who knows? But yeah, it's a wild time and it's scary times because there's money on the line now because it's playoff time, or you're getting a tattoo on your ass for some shit you did not want, or in a spot you did not want to get a tattoo, or of something you did not want, but yeah,
but it's got to be, I believe it's 2 concurrent, tests back to back.
You have it there. Okay.
Tests back to back. Because a couple of Rams players, as we know, did not clear today that they were able to play tonight. Tyler Higbee among those players. But I mean, even looking at the Chiefs situation and just how dire this can get so quickly, looking at the fact that they've added 10 people in the last 2 days, that does not include Patrick Mahomes. And again, if he's in that bubble of being a close contact, it takes a couple days for him to get things growing. I mean, that's not good, especially when you're a Chiefs team that's, trying to fight and hold on to that number 1 seed in the AFC and get that first round bye. Now that there's only one of them left. A couple other guys, some guys that are probably going to be out regardless of how they go the rest of the week. We know Cole Beasley is not vaccinated, so he's automatically out 10 days. He was added today. And then the other one so far that stuck out, let's see if I can, Kendrick Bourne with the Patriots. He was added yesterday. So probably looking at iffy status there. It's still weird to think that it's Tuesday and we just got done with Week 15 about an hour and a half ago.
Not even.
Yeah, I mean, it's bizarre. It's bizarre.
You compound that with just the injuries, though, Stephen, and I mean, you had like Rondell Moore got hurt. Lamar obviously didn't play. Is he going to be ready to go next week? But then again, Huntley balled out and was QB1 this week. I mean, I think if nobody outdid him today, I'm trying, I like the kicker wise, Zane Gonzalez got hurt, and I mean, imagine you go to start him in the playoffs and you go do, you go to a Home Depot and Home Goods and all that shit with your wife, and you come back and the kicker's out or whatever, and you end up losing, because there were some bad beats. My boy lost on a touchdown by Chicago Bears when they scored. He had the Vikings defense. He lost by 0.8. He lost 1 point. The
best part about that whole sequence with Jesper Horsted catching that touchdown was Scott Van Pelt's reaction. Yes, fire Matt Nagy. He should have been fired today. Wasn't.
Bullshit. They're fucking assholes.
It's going to be the end of the year now. If there was time to do it.
No, you know what they'll do though? Sorry, I just want to add. They're just going to interview fucking guys while Matt Nagy's still the coach. Can they do that? I
don't know if they can. I don't think they can.
You have to fire the coach to interview people.
I think so. I could be. I don't know. That sounds like something a union would do. But
Nagy should just quit.
Fucking
asshole. Sorry. I take that back, kind of.
No, you don't.
No, I don't. He fucking ruins
Let's be
every
frank.
fucking Sunday. My wife's like, Dawn's like, you're a broken record. Did they fire Matt Nagy today? No. Then stop saying it. It's like they will. I promise. They will fire him.
Our damn minds.
Pat Fryerman's got hurt. Mike, and then just real the freaking. I just want to circle back to the Bucs. Mike Evans. You lose Godwin for the year. I imagine you lose your wide receiver 1, 2, and running back 1 in one game. And fantasy wise, that hurts. I mean, that's how you end up with scores of like 58 and shit like that.
Yeah, I tell you, that was one of the more shocking games overall. I'm also kind of disappointed because it killed any hope of Tom Brady probably reaching 50 touchdowns passing wise, which I thought
I didn't realize he throws the ball.
He was there.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Now he's got to throw 14 in 3 games. That ain't gonna happen. Yeah. I guess there's a chance.
Not with everyone getting hurt either, No, you're right.
But on top of that, it's you got Antonio Brown coming back, who was, hey, first screw up, he's out of here. We'll give you a pass. We'll give you another pass. Okay, one more pass, and then if you screw up one more time, it's okay. He's gonna play this week.
He's gonna ball out.
He has every opportunity to put up the number 1 wide receiver week in week 16. After
four
all
out
of
it, out of all that shit, 4 out of 6 games. I think he had over 13.3 points in PPR leagues before he got hurt and suspended. I mean, the guy is fantasy relevant when he is healthy, eligible, non-suspended, whatever it is, vaccinated or real card. I don't know what you want to call it. When he's on the field, he's putting up numbers.
Showing that fake
ID. Brady knows it, and that's why he hitched his wagon to AB. Oh my goodness.
I mean, they got the Panthers this week, and then they finish the fantasy football season with the Jets. I mean, that is just screaming opportunity. If it isn't, I don't know what to say. But for all of you out there who kept AB on your rosters, held out,
kudos.
It's going to pay off. If you are still playing, it is going to pay off this week. You can fire him up as a wide receiver 1, and that's saying a lot for a guy who hasn't played in a month and a half, if not longer. But it's just been wild. Things have gone so far off the rails in the last week. And we keep asking, and that's been the MO of this year, is how much worse can this get? How much more chaotic can things be? Every week, it's hold my beer. Every damn week.
To that point, look at what's below you there. You have Huntley in the conversation with Jalen Hurts and Russell Wilson. So it's like, if he's, I don't know. I don't like Russell at all, but at this point, I just think he wants to get the hell out of Seattle, and I think they're broken. But I don't know. You can't trust Hurts. I think Jackson's going to be back, but I'm not. Week 17. That's 2 weeks away. So,
I mean, it is the Bears going up against Russ.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
we actually have a
from
decent
that,
defense, as we saw again last night.
that's true.
You
Where the
know,
hell has Graham been all year? Sitting on the practice squad,
what
then this
makes the
year
decision
balls
about the
out
roster?
against Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Digressing again. However, for all of you Russell Wilson
The next New
guys out
York
there,
Football Giants quarterback.
stop drafting him. Stop it. Or if you're going to draft him, play him for 8 weeks, and then sell him high, because he does this every December. He throws up dud after dud after dud. This has become Russell Wilson's career.
Yeah.
Is that
He's got
he'll
mallet
start
finger
on
too,
fire.
so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just this consistency issue that he runs into towards the end of every year. I don't know if it's just like an energy thing, if he's trying to preserve some
Well,
strength.
rehabs like 19 hours a day and shit when he had his fucked up finger. I don't know how that's possible, but the guy has his like team that just walks around and does shit for him. He's like the most bougie NFL quarterback probably in the league, but he sucks right now. Don't start him. Smokey the cat. I think if Lamar is out, Huntley is another strong play. I mean, the guy, even when he played last week, then again this week, he showed that he's not afraid to take chances. He's going to throw the ball. I love that video with him and Harbaugh when they're talking, and he's like, Harbaugh's trying to figure out, did these guys want to go for it? What's their confidence? And he's like, let's go for it, But he's like, when you go down to score, let's go for 2. Like I think he's not shying away from the big moment, and you could go ahead and look to start him in week 16 if Lamar's out. And the Eagles are playing, is it
The Giants.
They play the Giants, right? Week 17, 16.
That's what I got that I'm worried about is like,
Yeah.
I don't like, Huntley could put up a pretty solid game against the Bengals, who haven't been all that great overall, even though they continue to hang in there in the AFC North. But it's the Giants. And again, it's an opportunity. And again, it's gonna be another must win for the Eagles. They're probably going to have to win out sitting at 7-7 in order to make the playoffs to get to 10-7. And I have a pretty strong feeling, even though he is a painful quarterback to watch at times, that Jalen Hurts should be able to get it done. And he got it done again tonight with his legs. I don't think there's going to be much difference against a different NFC East opponent next week, even on a very short week.
Yeah, they went Washington football team, Giants, then Washington football team again, right? And they close out with Dallas. So yeah, they could win out and end up at 10-7. He's got to be a little bit more consistent with the arm, as you said, but because he can do it with the legs, but so are you answering your own question? Are you saying you'd go with Huntley over Hurts, or are you going, Hurts over Huntley based on matchups?
I and it sucks saying this because Hurts was god awful against the Giants 2 weeks ago. I think he bounces back. I do think he bounces back at home. He does seem to play significantly better in Philadelphia. He gets back in front of the home crowd. I like Hurts over Huntley this week.
Okay. All right. Got a couple questions though while we have him here. We got Mr. Bob Loblaw. He had a question about his tight ends too up top there, and I think he should go with Knox if Freiermuth is out with his concussion. But half point PPR, who do you like here? I'll let you pick this one.
Michael Carter, Ramondre Stevenson, Miles Gaskin, and Kenneth Gainwell.
Jesus, not Kenneth Gainwell.
I'm going to go Stevenson. I don't know what the deal is with Harris. Michael Carter is also somewhat tempting as well in this regard and what he brings to the table, and maybe he shook off that rust that he had in week 15, as we all saw. Didn't really bounce back the way a lot of people expected. They do have the Jaguars this week, though. So that is a very tempting matchup for Michael Carter to go out and, try and put on a pretty solid performance there. But that being said, I'd seen the Patriots take on the Bills, so that really isn't much better. But you watched how the Patriots ran the ball down the Bills' throat a couple weeks ago. I think that's going to be the case again. I don't think there was anything there where you got a pretty good notion that the Bills would be able to stop the run, especially, even knowing that it was coming every single play. And, Stevenson should be a big part of that, even if they wean Harris back in. If he does come back from that ankle injury, out of those four, I'd say he's probably the most safe in terms of a floor, I guess. Yeah,
I liked Gaskin, but I think you're hitting the nail on the head, especially in that matchup.
Duke Johnson time, baby. I'm sorry.
Hey, biggest game in his career. Why not? Week 15 for Miami debut. Why not have your pick a time to have your best game ever?
I've been waiting 5 years for that game out of him.
Oh, big Duke guy, are we? Huh?
That's the last place I expected. I held on to him for so damn long. Kareem Hunt is what I thought Duke Johnson was going to be.
Tell us how you feel, Mr. Johnson.
Happened. I'm sorry. That was one of my dynasty stashes that never worked out, and it just upsets me every time that it just happened after I cut bait everywhere. I said, it's over.
Okay.
You can't with the Houston Texans, it's over. Then he goes for this and has himself a fantastic week. But
good for him, taking advantage of his opportunity.
I had to interrupt and get my words in.
Hey, I'm happy for you. We're here. It's your show. Let everybody know your affinity for Mr. Johnson. We got some good quandaries though here in the chat. And I'm Smokey the Cat has another one here. He's got to pick 3. Got some solid guys to go from. I like St. Brown, actually. I think he's a good play. Ronald Jones. Who
you got early there? That's a list. Who do you got out of that?
I hate that's not Cooper. That's not Amari Cooper.
Who else would it be?
Yeah, duh. I don't like Gallup. I like St. Brown. I like if Sonny's playing. And then you got one more. I think Ronald Jones is a guy that's gonna step right in over in Tampa and do well. He's everybody's number one waiver claim this week anyway. So if you have him already, good for you, Smokey the Cat, because that's a nice play that you got there. So I think you got to start him, and we and go with Sonny, in my opinion, and St. Brown. What about you?
Talking about St. Brown, this is a guy that's just emerging at the right time this year. The way that he's been able to collect targets at such a prolific rate, and not just that, but do a lot with them. Again, just another great week for him last week in the win over the Cardinals there. And I tell you, it would not shock me if he puts up an even better week this week. He's got 24 targets over the last 2 weeks. What was his game last week? It was pretty solid.
11 targets, 8 catches, 73 yards. Right?
Yeah, I mean, he's got 2 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks, and now he gets Atlanta. I mean, that's just asking for, the full package there out of a guy. The one concern I have is whether or not Goff plays, because if Goff doesn't play, I'm a little bit more
Tim
weary.
Boyle, right? Isn't that their backup?
It just doesn't excite me
all. You and I could probably, Yeah, but he's had at least 15. He's had at least 15 points in PPR leagues in the last 3 games. So and what I was saying in over that same span, he's had at least 11 targets, 8 catches, and 73 yards, and 2 touchdowns in that span. So when I spouted that out last game, I was wrong completely. So I just wanted to correct myself. But no, you're right. If there's no Jared Goff, there's no St. Brown. So that may change our choices here. And if that's the case, would you go with Amari Cooper over Michael Gallup?
I would probably roll with. Amari Cooper just disappoints me. He disappointed me this week. I'm going to say Parker. There's something about him, just the Dolphins in general. I don't know what's going on down in Miami, because that looked like the epitome of a sinking ship.
Oh, yeah.
And yet here they are continuing to churn
To
out
a train.
win after win after win. They have themselves back in the playoff picture, and they're just looking like a well-oiled machine. And, the question now coming down to, what does Jalen Waddle look like in this matchup?
Yeah.
Is he going to be, reinserted without, much of a fanfare from that regard? But then you get Devonte Parker back in the mix, and, he missed a game, comes back, 4 catches, 68 yards, and a touchdown. He's got that nice floor built in, especially when Jalen Waddle doesn't play. So I think ultimately the wide receiver aspect of this comes down to who's playing and who isn't playing. So if Goff's playing, automatically St. Brown. If Goff isn't playing and Waddle isn't playing, go to Parker. And if Waddle is playing, go to Cooper. So you got the full tree going with the yes and no's and everything. But Jacobs and Ronald Jones for sure, I think, for the other two, just with it's especially the PPR floor that Jacobs has built in here as well.
I didn't even see that, Jacobs. I missed that one. Okay, good job. Nice. Look at this guy here. His team. I don't know if I won this week or not. We tied 96-96. I have more fantasy points. However, he has a 7-6-1 record, and I have a 7-7 record. In the setting, it says seeding playoff tiebreaker, most points for. So if you have,
so that's the seeding. So that's
that's different.
So the question for this,
what's the tiebreaker for the game, the matchup?
Right. A lot of those is the higher seed wins. That's especially if you're in a standard setup.
So that's
league.
why he has seeding set here. So if they're he would take it then. The guy has a better winning percentage, right? 7-6-1 is better than 7-7.
Yep. And I'll tell you this right now: if you do not have decimal points in your league, get them.
Yep.
Get your decimal point setups. It makes life a hell of a lot easier overall with all of that. Bob back with another question. Same league. Which league?
I think the tight end league he was referring to before.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, well, he had Noah Fant, Pat Freiermuth, and Knox as his tight end, his typical tight end question, non-PPR. Okay. But
so Stevenson, Carter, and Higgins. Got to pick 2 of 3.
Yeah, we already talked about this. I think we answered one of them, right?
Yeah, Stevenson.
I think Higgins also. I know he's got a little Burrows has got a little connection with Boyd right now, but I just think Higgins is still he's going to give you more than Carter, in my opinion, and I'm sure you're going to back your choice with statistics than just opinion here. But
well, I mean they got the Ravens this week, which I don't know what to make of the Ravens anymore. I really don't. Like they're such a bizarre team to me in terms of what they bring to the table. Because this is the thing, is like Higgins had 300-yard games prior to the dud against Denver, and Denver's just got a very good defense.
Yeah,
I'd go Higgins too.
Yeah,
I think Higgins is the
hey, we agree.
Is the play that bounced back. Hey. Virtual high fives. All right, Smokey the Cat's got his lineup here. So Hurts, Deontay, St. Brown, Cook, Ronald Jones, Gesicki, Sony. Did we say Sony?
I did.
Oh, you did. Okay. All right.
So you could swap out Jacobs and Sony and be totally fine, and I would not be upset with that at all.
Well, I guess if it's not full PPR, yeah, I can see that. side of things, especially if the Rams are going to mess with the backfield distribution like they did tonight. I'm watching that game. I'm like, this is happening. I think so. I want to say Sony had like 7 carries before Henderson got his first. It was just like, what?
Were they easing him in, you think? Or was this just, because he was getting a heavy workload while he was out. I mean, it was definitely getting 23, 26 carries. I mean, he was definitely shouldering the load there.
Right. Yeah, that's man. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what to make of that. And that worries me. I have a lot of shares of Darrell Henderson heading into this week. And so I'm just gonna panic on the inside over the holidays.
Yeah, you are.
Instead of that. However, this week, I'm gonna use a great segue here. This week there are quite a few, yet again, waiver wire pickups to help teams along here, and we're gonna dive right into them. Quite a few that have even over the last 24 hours gained quite a bit of value in terms of what they're probably going to bring to their matchups and what they've done the last couple weeks, and guys that continue to sit on the waiver wire and no one pays attention to them.
Yep.
No one.
Yep.
It drives me insane. So we're going to talk about them.
Why not?
So with that, let's talk about some quarterbacks that can help us out here in week number 16. Who you got?
Well, it's been wild. Week 15, we had Tyler Huntley proving that he was he was taking some teams through the playoff round, round one there, being a QB1 this week. And he probably was not rostered in most leagues. You don't know what's going on with Lamar's ankle. He's a guy to think about grabbing. If you're really at this point streaming, if Lamar's out and you played your backup and you played like Tua and he did okay, but you need a guy, you may want to grab him. He's rostered in not as many leagues. He's only rostered and I want to I had it there, but 7% of the leagues, which is pretty much non-existent. And for a guy that put up QB1 numbers this past weekend, he's a guy you probably will have to spend a little bit of bread on to grab. But if you're in the playoffs and you have your tier with regular waivers, the old school way, in the playoffs, players get first dibs on the players in the waiver pool. You got a chance of grabbing him. I liked Jared Goff also before the whole COVID thing. So I'm gonna stick with Tyler Huntley on this one, man, out of Baltimore. They got the matchup against Cincinnati. Got a chance to throw the ball a little bit here and put up some points again. So that's where I'm at here with my QB. Granted, it is a tough matchup, but I look at him as like a top 10 QB this week. What about you, Mr. Johnson?
I'm going to play Homer here. Going back to the well of Justin Fields.
He's on my list.
Going up against Seattle this weekend. Again, he just continues it. And yeah, you can argue a lot that he made some very ugly plays on Monday night, taking some sacks that he shouldn't have, fumble that was a bit of a tough pill to swallow, as well as, some locking on to wide receivers he probably shouldn't be locking on to. But nevertheless, this is now 3 out of his last 4 weeks. He has finished top 10 at quarterback. Again, that rushing upside, even though it almost got him killed on Monday night, hell of a hit to the head.
A guy went after him twice. There was another one where he went after him, and I was like, that mother, and I hate that other people. They're like, oh, Fields brings that upon himself because he's a running quarter. No, dude, that's why they have the rule. Like, you can't fucking do it. Like, Jesus. And I love Tevin Jenkins getting up and wanting to just fucking throttle people for Justin Fields, because that's what we need. No one was helping up Andy Dalton when he was getting laid out when the Cowboys happened last year, and he was like walking around, didn't know where he was. I don't even think it happened for any of the Bears quarterbacks this year outside of last night, seeing Tevin Jenkins step up and defend him was fucking a thing of beauty. And Fields even appreciated it. Granted, it cost us a penalty and whatever, but and fuck Jermaine Infidelity, whatever is infidelity. I almost called him Jesus. Fuck him because Fetty, because that was bullshit. You don't do that on the field, but nonetheless, I digress.
You find a better way to do it, and it definitely ain't that. But
you like that matchup against Seattle, huh?
It's tough because it's funny. For as bad as Seattle's record shows, you'd think that they're not that great, but they do tend to clamp down defensively. But at the same time, I think that Justin is getting into a comfort zone, especially with what he's able to do mobility wise with the ball and just that upside. And we see it with Jalen Hurts that, through the air, it might not be as pretty as you expect it to be. But as long as you have that built-in opportunity to run the ball, to take off with it, that opportunity, that top 10 positional upside will remain. And it has remained for the better part of a month now with Justin Fields. And so, again, as long as it's there, it's the possibility, and you got to take it if you need that high upside play, especially, with some of the other situations that are circling the league and what, for all we know, could be a complete unknown for what, the landscape is 3 days from now. Hell, 24 hours from now, we could see another breakout among some of these teams. So it's, only a matter of time, as we've learned very, very quickly.
Yeah, it's been crazy. I had one of my leagues buddy was like, "Are you gonna expand the rosters?" Because no, dude, we've been doing this all fucking season, man. Put your big boy pants on and make a freaking move. Cut someone you need to cut and pick somebody up. We're all in the same situation. It's like, fuck you, dude. It was funny. Caused a whole rift, but that's what happens in that stupid league I always bitch about. But now we talked about quarterbacks, and I think Justin Fields is probably, if I read somewhere, I think outside of, when that game where he hurt his ribs, I think there would have been the game he missed with the rib injury, he would have had 4 games in a row of at least 18 points. And I think that's pretty impressive. As much as the Bears get hit over the head, and as he gets hit over the head for all the other shit you just talked about, rightfully so, he's still putting up numbers. And that's a promising thing for Justin Fields, fantasy, but also for Bears fans. But as we talk about him, there's some running backs out there that are going to hopefully bring some people to the promised land, because Mixon's hurt. We don't know what's up with this. We don't know what's up with his ankle. We got Fournette's injury, hammy. DeAndre Swift, is he going to play? Are they just toying with us? I would love for him to play because I got him in one of my leagues. Elijah Mitchell, Damian Harris, as we talked about, Kareem Hunt with COVID.
It's a nonstop list.
Yeah, Deontay Foreman with an ankle injury, and Alex Collins with a COVID. I threw him on there just because I threw it on there. But so there's plenty of running backs that are hurt. So there's guys to check to see that are out there. Devin Singletary, if somebody dropped him, or what's that? Dontrell Hilliard is another guy to think about. But obviously we talked about Ronald Jones being the number one priority, right? He's rostered in 36% of the leagues. So he's probably out there if you're listening. So get your mind right and get ready to make some you're going to have to spend, because there's a lot of people that are going to want him right now. The way things are looking out, especially in that offense. And if Fournette is out for the year, that means you got him for the playoffs, and that is a good thing for you. I took the easy way out talking about Ronald Jones. Justin Jackson is another one. Yes. And I hope, with Eckler being out, so he's another guy. Roster 13% of the league, so he's somebody to keep an eye on. I cheated and took 2, but they got a nice matchup playing Houston, and he's got a real shot to put up some numbers. Joshua Kelly's another guy on that same team. He's rostered in like 2%, but I still think Justin Jackson, could put up some numbers for you against the Houston Texans.
Yeah, put up 86 yards
Yeah.
on the ground against the Chiefs. So definitely has the capability to get the job done if he is called upon to take on a bigger workload. And again, the opportunity might be there. Samaje Perine, if Joe Mixon doesn't go, he's got the
Yep.
ankle issue. Did step off the field towards the end of the game there, but Perine wasn't terrible.
No.
In the limited action that he had, 4 carries for 30 yards, and then 2 catches for 13. So did have that potential there. Broncos, obviously a very difficult matchup for him to put up those points there, and
It's a
now
tough
gets
one.
Baltimore in week 16.
Yeah.
So from a matchup perspective, maybe not the best option for what you're looking to get here, but definitely, like you mentioned, Ronald Jones needs to be the number one target if you are needy at running back. Perine and Jackson, great options as well. Honestly, just fill them up, get the backup sets in place. I mean, I know I had my little outburst about Duke Johnson. I'm not sure if you can trust him now that we have Philip Lindsay
come on.
back, and then also Myles Gaskin back off the COVID list.
Yeah.
I would love to see him finish the season on a high note and just continue to churn out these fantastic
You'll draft
games,
him next year.
I probably will.
A glutton for punishment you are, brother. I love it. I love it. Hey, I'm gonna just ask you a question. What do you about Jeff Wilson? What do you think about him?
That worries me. And it's funny because I benched him in 3 leagues this week. I would have won 2 had I started him. I went the Michael Carter route instead, and boy, did that bite me in the ass. Yeah, I'm a little bitter over that.
I get it,
but I don't know what I still am afraid. I'm deathly afraid of that 49ers backfield.
Yeah,
Trey Sermon.
They got a tough matchup. Trey Sermon's out now for the rest of the year. You know,
is he?
I
thought he was
IR today. They put him on the IR today.
All right. See,
and they play Tennessee, who's the number 1 defense against the opposing running back. So it's like it's tough. But I mean, 21 carries, 110 yards, touchdown, 2 catches, 9 yards. I mean, I'd like to play him. I mean. It's tough. I mean, granted, it was against Atlanta, but at the same time, if you're needing a running back, he's still only rostered in a quarter of the leagues out there. So 25% of the league. So it's like you have, and as we've talked about, there's some running backs, right, that we've talked about that could literally be top 10 performers with, running back, output for week 16, which is just shocking at this point in the game to grab that. Not, I see one guy, but like, you could literally roster a backfield with waiver claims if you really needed to, if you played your cards right.
So no joke. I know one guy that started. He had to start 3 wide receivers this week. I told him, all right, you're going to pick up Russell Gage. You're going to pick up Amon-Ra St. Brown. And then he had Mooney as a holdover, and he won.
There you go.
And I'm just like,
how much did that cost him?
He's in for the season. He's good. But it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy to think like, okay, you can roll in the playoffs and win rather impressively with a bunch of scrubs who were going undrafted in the middle of August.
People's phones are going off with all those notifications because there's always somebody that's making like 7 or 8 moves, and it's like, oh, well, they were on Fantasy Pros or whatever and getting all that insight, and next thing you know, they're winning, by like 40 because they picked up all the guys that, they were ahead of the game. It's a fair point. It's definitely something that you could do. And like you said, 3 wide receivers took that guy to the promised land for the weekend off the waiver heap. So, kudos to him, man.
Yeah, it's again just the bizarre nature of 2021. Speaking of wide receiver, who are we looking at here?
We've talked about a few, right? You had checking to see if Antonio Brown was kicking around, but he's rostered in like 78%. Russell Gage, 74%. Tyler Boyd right in around the 67. I'm not going to cheat and say St. Brown again because we already talked about him. I like Gabriel Davis in Buffalo, rostered in 26% of the leagues. Now with Cole Beasley out, also Emmanuel Sanders has just become non-existent. I love Mr. Davis here. I think he has really come on as of late. Obviously, in 3 games in a row, he's had 15 targets, 10 catches, 128 yards, and 2 touchdowns in his last 2 outings against Tampa and Carolina. I think what he had 2 catches on 4 targets against the Patriots in week 13. But he is ripe for the pick, and they're playing New England. I like this game. I like this matchup. Buffalo is going to come out and try to hang a number against New England, especially after what happened at home. They're definitely going to try to put something on New England. I think it's going to be a great football game altogether, as long as everyone can stay healthy. I just think it's really worth the pick up here. I think he's the second best receiver behind Stephen Diggs in Buffalo, and that's not too shabby right now. If they can put it together, so he's my pick to click at the wide receiver position. What about you, Mr. Johnson?
I had a feeling that with the removal of one Urban Meyer from Jacksonville, it was going to limit his favorites from the collegiate days. But that was not the case on Sunday against the Houston Texans. And now it's a Jacksonville team that gets to go up against the New York Jets, and a guy that continues, for whatever reason, to find a very nice little role in this Jacksonville offense, despite the fact, and this stat blew my mind when I heard it earlier, Trevor Lawrence has 1 passing touchdown in 8 weeks. 1. That is it.
What?
That is it. He has thrown 1 touchdown in 8 weeks.
The Urban Meyer effect.
1 touchdown to 5 interceptions over the last 8 weeks.
Wow.
I mean, it almost broke my brain to think that over the last 8 weeks, Trevor Lawrence has as many passing touchdowns as Derrick Henry.
What?
Think about that. Brain is broken. However, getting back on track, Laquan Treadwell, for whatever reason, continues to churn out great games in PPR leagues. Yes, he hasn't scored. However, we are now on 4 straight weeks of at least 4 catches, put up his best stat line from a full PPR perspective against Houston, 6 catches, 57 yards, putting up the 11.7 points if you are working off those decimal systems like you should be. To avoid the ties, team.
96.
But now going up against the Jets, another opportunity for him to put up some high target shares yet again. He had 9 targets against the Houston Texans as well. So again, the opportunity is there. He is a low-end guy. He is rostered in less than 2% of leagues out there. So with all the wide receiver injuries, if it is a very shallow pool at the waiver wire at wide receiver, look towards Treadwell. So that's my pick there.
You were pounding that drum last week, and he came through for you. I can't see why you won't hang your hat on that again. That was perfect. I mean, and no one picked him up because he's still at 2% of the league.
Because Trevor Lawrence is throwing to him.
That's wild. 1 fucking touchdown. You got any tight ends available, though? I mean, is there anybody left? Kelsey's out, right? So his backup is obviously someone to think about.
Maybe out. Maybe. We don't know it for sure.
Yeah, true. Because it's early.
Yeah. So I'm fingers crossed that he plays there. There isn't a lot that screams. Cole Kmet frustrates the hell out of me.
6 catches, 71 yards, and 9 targets.
Know.
7 targets in 3 out of his last 4 games.
How clumsy did Cole Kmet look on Monday night?
Just a little bit.
And then you go to his stat line and you're like, huh?
Yeah.
He did that. Okay. All right.
That happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Which you give him credit here.
No touchdown for him this year.
No. Well,
Yeah.
and that's the crazy
Well,
part.
it's a Matt Nagy offense. I mean, we just
Yeah.
don't score touchdowns, so it's like
Yeah,
no
it's
one
just
has
for
touchdowns.
Horsted, the touchdown machine.
He's got way more touchdowns than Allen Robinson, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
man, talk about just depression there, but nevertheless. But to the Cole Kmet point, though, 3 out of his last 6 weeks he's finished top 10, so you can't really disregard him as being an option. In all honesty, I can't put my faith in Evan Ingram.
what about your boy James O'Shaughnessy?
Oh God, I love me some James O'Shaughnessy.
4 catches, 60 yards. You know,
he's doing that same thing where he's just trotting along, doing his thing, and managing to get it done. I am going to go in a slightly different direction, though. I'm going to hit Cameron Brate here, just for addition by subtraction, where he's got to step up. Scotty Miller ain't going to be it. Tyler Johnson ain't going to be it. It needs to be Cameron Brate to work these 2 tight end sets with Rob Gronkowski. Yeah, you can argue that Carolina isn't the best matchup, especially for what he has going on. But if you're going to play a touchdown-dependent tight end, I would move towards Cameron Brate.
So. Really? I was really surprised by you.
I know. I
pulled that one out of left field.
Yeah.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, though. You know, I thought maybe you were going to go with Njoku over in Cleveland. You know,
that did cross my mind.
But they're decimated by COVID. I almost feel like he's next. It's just they were hoping all those guys were going to be back for last night. It just didn't work out for them. But no, I could see that work. Brate was a dude last year that had his moments in the sun too with Tommy B, so I think that's something to be said. That's not a bad pick, for those guys listening, for those 19 of you listening right now. I appreciate that.
You got a late night audience here.
I like this. Appreciate you hanging with us here, jeepers. It's late over here. I think it's past midnight out here. My wife's probably like, what the fuck are you doing? I blame you. Fuck you, Logan. We already talked about it. Get on the show when it started.
He lost to Josh by a point. So he's in the pain house as well.
All right. I take that back, Logan. I still love you, even though I literally shit the fucking bed fantasy wise. That was awful.
Everybody was waiting for that from you from like week 5.
Oh yeah. Fucking lucky guy. Oh yeah. Hey.
Oh, it's 1 p.m. for Logan. He's overseas. He's enjoying the day.
Sir.
He's one day closer to the Christmas holiday.
Yeah. Speaking of, man, I wishing everyone a happy holiday out there. I know we won't talk to you guys till after. So we do hope you guys enjoy the holiday break and enjoy all that football fantasy love. Hope you guys win some playoff games. Hoping you guys don't end up in the consolation toilet bowl or what have you. But hope you guys find your holiday cheer and have a safe holiday. I just wanted to add that. I don't know what made me say it now, but I didn't know if, I do see it's, what are we, over an hour here? So I wasn't sure what you were trying to do, Mr. Johnson. But it's fantasy playoff time, man.
It is. We have championship week next week. Finally here. Yeah, all these years we've been used to week 16 being it, but not this time around.
No.
We're talking week 17 actually meaning something in 2021. Turning everything upside down on its head. But we'll be back here on Tuesday, same time, same place. Or I guess not same time as tonight.
No.
It was just late because COVID ruined everything. So 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central.
Yes.
Next week here on ChiCitySports.com and the Tape Never Lies Network, we have Keeping It 100, the holiday show. I really liked Phil's Photoshop with the Santa hats on all you guys.
Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah, we got some special surprises planned, I'm sure, for the holiday show. And in addition to that, check out Chi City Sports on all social media channels tomorrow morning. There is your chance to win a Justin Fields jersey.
Oh, shoot.
So if you
Okay.
want a chance to win a Justin Fields jersey.
Can I win?
No.
Fuck. Damn, we did this already. I forgot.
I quit.
Right.
I'm
Smokey the
eligible.
Cat. Nice job, buddy. I like that. Projected 11th out of 12, came in third. Well
Very
played,
nice.
sir. Kudos
That's what
to you.
we like to hear. And we had one other comment here that made me smile a little bit. Peter Parker, Spider-Man's watching. I'm glad I found the show. You guys are fun to listen to. We do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Always here to lend a hand with fantasy rosters across the fantasy spectrum, and hopefully we're also talking to many of you who are still alive and ready to rumble for a championship next week if you do survive the holiday season and another 4-night football week. Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, maybe Tuesday again if COVID decides to run rampant. We'll keep an eye on those Chiefs if it continues to turn into a disaster. But hey, we'll see where things go from there. So, like we said, stay tuned to the Shy City Sports social channels tomorrow morning for more on how you can win that jersey, and then watch Keeping It 100 with Draft Dr. Phil and Shane, the Smartest Man Marsaw, tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central on Shy City Sports and the Tape Never Lies Network as well. So plenty of stuff to get you ready fantasy-wise, Bears-wise. Bears taking on the Seattle Seahawks this Sunday as the misery is almost over, folks. There's only 3 more weeks. Feels like an eternity, but there's only 3
Matt
more.
Nagy could have 2 5-game losing streaks in the same season. That'd be pretty cool.
Don't put it past him.
No, I just hang our hat on that, Hey, we'll end on that note, hey, because it starts with him and ends with him, But yeah, whatever. You said
except
that
when
week.
It doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's going to do it here for One Up Fantasy. Do enjoy the holiday weekend. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Would say happy Hanukkah, but that was a couple of weeks ago.
It has passed, but we hope
if
you had a happy Hanukkah. Yes.
Hope you had a great one. Kwanzaa and every other holiday in between. Whatever you celebrate, Festivus.
For the rest of
us. Who knows? Yes, exactly. Like I said, we'll be back here next Tuesday night with some more fantasy football fun. So until then, have a great rest of your evening. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next week, folks.
Take care, everybody.